Hey guys, and welcome back to Economics and Comics. Oh, we went and saw another movie, and all I have to say is, can you smell what economics is cooking? I'm here, the movie watcher, with the Massey twins from GoneWithTheTwins.com.
Thanks so much for having us back.
Yep.
Joel and Mike, they took me to another movie, and it was a WWE movie. And I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be watching this because there are a lot of wrestling fans out there, and it's not fake.
Well, we'll get into
WWE.
that.
And
You know,
The Rock.
one of the first things I wanted to mention was that Dwayne "Rock" Johnson is all over the posters and the advertising and everything. For those of you who are unfamiliar with his role in this, it's little more than a cameo. So this is about Paige and her rise through superstardom in the WWE. So don't go in expecting The Rock to be the star.
He's not the main
he's
star.
Featured predominantly on the poster and everything, and
He is in there.
prominently on the poster,
Yeah,
and he's in there. But yeah, he's by no means the star. So.
What'd you say, a couple cameos?
Yeah, if that, I mean, what,
You probably had
couple
about
of
10
scenes.
minutes worth.
Yeah, a couple of
The
scenes.
story is really about what is her name, Soraya Knight, and her
Paige.
The
and
Knight-
her
the Knight
family,
family,
the Knight
yeah.
family, yeah, and her rise into the WWE through the NXT, I guess is their
Yeah, and the
incarnation.
fighting with the family is the whole family were wrestlers.
Yes.
From the UK?
Yes,
Or no,
and
no.
it's actually
Norwich.
it's a double meaning because she's not only fighting literally with her family, but she's fighting alongside them as well. So
It's really a
correct
family drama film that's kind of wrapped inside of
Well,
wrestling.
it's an inspirational sports drama. I think a lot of the
Yes,
the notes in this,
inspirational.
it follows the formula of an inspirational sports drama, and it kind of hits all those notes. So in that regard, it's very effective. And I thought the humor was very well done in here. I want to.
It's directed by Stephen Marchant.
Yes,
who's,
who's a very
fairly famous British
Comedian,
comedian. Yeah.
yeah. I think one of the things that right off the bat, and Bill, you probably know a lot more about wrestling than I do, but I wanted to mention that I thought the family dynamic at the beginning only, the first 30 minutes or so when we're introduced to this family, I thought it was very interesting because typically in these films you see a very dysfunctional family, and even though they're all obsessed with the WWE, with wrestling, which is a very unusual occupation, their family is anything but dysfunctional. They're all loving, they're all supportive, they all come together. It's a lot of teamwork. So that beginning setup I thought was quite a deviation from the standard inspirational movie in general, where you've got a lot of adversity and characters who have to try to struggle against all sorts of different things in order to reach their goals.
I think
this
they've
one
already
there's
passed
a lot
that.
of unity.
Yeah,
As the point that they show where the kids are already, teenagers essentially, the family has already kind of gotten through a lot of struggles.
Yeah,
'cause
so I
the
like
mom
that.
came
Yeah.
from, bad places, and the dad was in and out of prison and things like that. So
Yeah, so there was adversity, but
Yeah,
we don't
but
we
we
don't
don't
have
see
to
it,
we don't
yeah.
have to witness that. We just we hear a little bit briefly about it, but then I think what's really cool about the family dynamic is that they're all supportive of one another, and even though there's that whole
I disagree with a little bit. Well, but even at the beginning, the main concept is that the mother and father are super into wrestling, and they kind of push their kids into it. And it's not really until later that especially Paige, throughout a lot of her childhood, it seemed like she wasn't really into wrestling, and she only maybe grew to love it because the parents were so
because
insistent.
the rest of the family.
And that's one of the themes that they kind of explore is whose dream is this? Is it hers or is it the family's dream?
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting because, the whole family keeps trying to get their kids into WWE. They call every day and all this stuff. I don't think that's a spoiler or anything. But it tells the whole story. But then when one of them finally gets in, Paige, it shows you like the whole training and everything that they have to go through and the cuts. It's almost like a comparison to like Navy SEALs training.
Sure.
If you get out, you got to ring the bell. You got to ring the bell. In this case, it's a horn or something.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and like a lot of the underdog stories, especially in terms of inspirational sports dramas, you do have a lot of those training montages and things that showing you how they rose to their the heights of their success. So we get a lot of that in there too. This is a less examined sport than you usually see in films, so this is certainly, it's got that uniqueness going for it.
Well, they did the other movie, what's it? The wrestling movie with the wrestler.
The rest, with Mickey
But-
Rourke, yeah.
Yeah, but
That
this,
was showing a very different aspect of wrestling, kind of the darker failing side of wrestling.
This
right?
is a WWE produced movie.
Yes, and this one's got a lot more of the glitz and glamour, and it's splashier, and it's more uplifting and more rousing. It's unlike The Wrestler, which is very much an exploration of a dark
movie.
path. With the Mickey Rourke film.
This movie, it had. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't know what to expect. But there was a lot of humor mixed in too, which really made it even more enjoyable for me. The family humor, the European humor, there's definitely a difference.
Yeah, well, the typical dry British humor. This is much more palatable.
They use a lot of
like
funny phrases and funny curse words.
Yeah, in the same vein that the humor here is more universal. I think the way they presented wrestling, you don't really need to know a whole lot about it. So you can go into this. To me,
that's one of the strengths of the film, is that you don't have to be a wrestling fan. You don't have to really know much about wrestling at all to enjoy this film, because it's the wrestling is almost off to the side a little bit, and it's at its heart, it's a family drama.
Although it's completely based about
it's based on a true story.
It's a biography. Up to the WWE.
Well, one of the most effective scenes is when Stephen Merchant, who wrote and directed it, he has a cameo, or not a cameo. He has a small role as the father of a woman who is having a child with the brother, Paige's brother. Anyway, so in that moment, there's a culture clash. You get they call him posh, or this posh couple come into the home with Lena Headey and Nick Frost, and they've got tattoos and wild hair and everything, and the posh couple are very prim and proper in glasses and conservatively dressed and everything, and there's a moment where they're trying to explain what wrestling is, and they say, Stephen Merchant's character says, well, what is the WWE? And I think this movie takes from that perspective too, and wants audiences to realize, well, you don't need to have been a lifelong fan. You don't need to have followed it or know what any of this stuff is.
I think,
and you can kind of appreciate
the more you know about the WWE, it kind of hurts it a little bit. The more you know about the real Paige and what she did. That's
a question for Bill too.
That's really interesting to me though, because and I don't know much about her either. I mean, look, you guys. I've watched, I've seen it all. I'm not a huge, diehard. I know a lot of people are. I know a lot of diehard wrestlers. When I was younger, it was all about Hulk and Macho Man and then even to Stone Cold and The Rock. Of course, I watched it all. But, the divas and stuff like that, I didn't know a lot of their backstory, and this was great to know. But to learn about her story in particular. But what I thought was really interesting is at the end of the movie, when the credits are rolling, they have on the side, they show the actual family. And I mean, it is like the same. They did a great
job. They did do a good job of casting. And
even the girl from, there's a lot of people in this movie. Vince Vaughn's in it. Of course, The Rock, but the
Lena Headey from Game of Thrones.
The queen, the evil queen everyone hates. The queen, she's the mom, which is a jump for her, I think, from what she's usually playing. I mean, she's a queen, and now she's this ex-punk drug addict,
like her character in Judge Dredd.
Well, kind of, right? Yeah, a little bit.
It's leaning closer to that.
She does really well.
But she's always plays tough characters, and this is no exception.
Oh, you could tell she had a fun time doing it too.
Sure.
You could tell. It seemed to me that they all had fun doing this movie.
It's a very lighthearted, fun kind of a film. There's a few emotional moments, a few dark turns, but nothing. This is a very crowd pleasing kind of a film.
Did you guys get close to the end of the movie? Did you get the whole body thing, the tingles? Did you get the tingles? When you see something and you're excited inside. You connect with the movie and you get the tingles to the body. Did you guys experience it?
That part of me has been dead for a long time.
No, you didn't get it at all. Okay, well, I got tingles. So
I enjoyed the conclusion of the film. I thought it was a very
tingles,
exciting conclusion.
I actually had a bit of a problem with the conclusion.
But you have to be careful because you didn't know spoilers.
Yeah, well, so
I don't know how accurate that is.
Okay,
that's the problem.
So that's one of my
based on a true story, though.
Right. So I'll mention this because I feel this is a reasonable comparison. So last year there was a film called Bohemian Rhapsody, and it was the biography of the band Queen and Freddie Mercury. So that film took some things that were untrue and twisted around a little bit. It's a fictional story. It's a biopic.
They did that to try
it's based on
drama.
things, but you're right. They've changed some of the facts. So where Now, in the course of that film, watching the film, most people, myself included, didn't doubt the things that were going on screen. You know, when characters behave in certain ways, when the band had certain falling out, I thought, okay, this makes sense in the context of this film. Afterwards, you can go, research. Wikipedia, you do your own research and read about the characters and what actually happened, and they've changed some things. Okay, but to me, it's still fine because as I'm watching Bohemian Rhapsody, I didn't doubt anything.
Let's get out of that. We do this a lot. We jumped in on the movie.
Okay,
did you research the ending of this on the way back?
No. So I knew nothing about it.
I feel like
it's
real.
The same way that with the aforementioned film, I knew nothing about it going in. So my problem with this is while watching the conclusion of this film, I pushed back against it. I thought something about this does not ring true. And I think
it's because it doesn't feel like it would happen that way.
Right, exactly.
But that's what the WD is
about.
Well,
so one of the quotes from one of the characters early on is, then they talk about wrestling, they say it is fixed, not fake. And they stress that. They actually say that a couple of times. I like that a lot because as many people know, wrestling it's not fake in the sense that people do get injured. They do get, these are real stunts. These are real. These are genuinely athletic people engaging in real moves.
It's physical.
However, it is fixed. The things that they do are routines, and the things that they do have been rehearsed. So again, fixed, not fake. Yeah, and I like that a lot.
I think it's the same problem. If you are a huge Queen fan and you know exactly how all the band members react to each other, then you'll know that the film did some things that were not true. This is the same way. If you know too much about the history behind Paige and what she's done, you'll realize what is not.
You're speculating right now. You're speculating because you don't know what happened. Because I just asked you, did you do research on the way back to know if they...
I know enough to know that it's not 100% true what they did in the movie.
At the end? Or the whole movie? Because
throughout things that they've done. Yeah, no, obviously not. I'm sure a lot of it... It's based on Stephen Merchant watching a documentary about Paige. And that's where, that's kind of the origin of where this film came from.
I truly
that was
like,
his inspiration.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say... I mean, we're not going there. We're not going there. But
it's more fun if you don't know what happens to Paige and how her journey, where her journey.
So you do know what happens to her.
I do.
Is that what you're saying? So
I don't.
So because I don't, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm truly asking you though.
Well,
like.
So for me, I'm not judging the film based on any preconceptions about it or knowing or not knowing what happens outside of the film. I'm talking about within the film itself. They've set up some definitions for things. Again, I'll go back to the fixed, not fake quote. They set this up. And then by the end of the film, I feel like there was a lack of authenticity in how that's portrayed. Now, again, to avoid spoilers, we don't want to get into it, but we don't want to get into that too much. But I will say that for me personally, I found the conclusion of the film to not ring true entirely, and it has nothing to do with what is factual or not factual. It has to do with, in the context of this film, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy what happened.
I think it's because you know too much
about I don't know what happened in real life. All I know is that in the context of the film, there are elements of that conclusion that I didn't buy into.
Okay, I understand what he's saying. We cannot talk about it, but it's her journey through training to the title.
Yeah, and all of that is very entertaining. Yeah, all of that is.
But it seems like from training to the title, it's snap of a finger.
Yes.
One day, and that's what he's talking about.
Yes, it is a little bit rushed. And the journey is not stretched out in the way so that we can kind of appreciate. I think the journey was stretched
out right, but I think what you're saying is, this is is how quick the title was given.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but for the sake of not spoiling anything.
And we don't know if that's true. Joel, did you do enough research to find out that?
But I can't talk about it without giving spoilers. So.
But from what I just said, you could say true or false, right?
Yeah, but I found it to be a little deceptive because I know too much about her actual journey.
Okay, so maybe they cut out
it's
a little
not
bit
like they,
for time.
That's exactly.
Like that.
But
that is.
But they make it. This is what they make you believe in the movie. That after training, she. What is the training?
Oh, the NXT.
NXT.
Yeah.
She was introduced to WWE and boom, title.
Right.
So I don't think that's a spoiler at all, and that's fine.
They do it for dramatic effect.
Yeah. And whether that happened in real life or not, I don't know. But it is based on a true story, and you know how these all are. Sometimes they change things for more exciting, like you guys are probably trying to say, is that they made it real exciting. But honestly,
Hey, exciting enough to give you tingles.
Yeah. I tingled. I tingled. No, but it was I didn't know what to expect of this movie. I'm not going to the audit. I know a lot of people that go every time they come. They go to the events, Raw, whatever.
Sure.
I don't do that. I used to watch it a lot. I'm too busy with my current channel to do that now.
You're
but
too busy doing important things.
I tell you what,
still.
it brought me
Important
back,
things.
and I enjoyed it. And like you guys said, even with no knowledge, it's an inspirational journey movie with some humor, and I gotta say, I really liked it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, again,
that's
perhaps its greatest accomplishment is that it's created an entertaining film that is not dependent on people being WWE fans. Right. You don't have to know it, and you don't have to be fans. That's the big thing, right? You can watch this film, not know any of these characters, and you learn with them, you grow with them, and then you can appreciate them.
That's very interesting because over our course of doing these videos together, I've learned these guys. I understand them more, and I hear them say a lot. Can you go into a movie without any knowledge and from start to finish and get something out of it? Or do you have to have the knowledge, or you don't?
It depends on the film, but this movie does not. Yeah, this movie is designed in such a way, competently enough, that you don't have to know anything about wrestling. It's great if you do, but her story is still interesting even if you don't know anything.
I mean, I think it's pretty much impossible to not know about wrestling.
Yeah. But I would say that even if you're not a fan of wrestling, if you don't like wrestling, it doesn't matter. You can still enjoy this movie for the good, the familial
and that's the thing I would caution people about, is that a lot of people see things, the outside premise, and they say, oh, it's a football movie, well, I don't want to go see that. A lot of these films, just because there's a particular sport or particular event that it's based around, doesn't mean that that's all it's got going for it. So this one, again, anybody who wants to dismiss this as, oh, well, it's a wrestling movie, I'm not interested in wrestling. Yeah, there's so much more going on than just wrestling. It's an inspirational story. She's a role model.
I mean, if you look at, you can see the picture fighting with the family on the screen. You can't tell it's a wrestling movie.
Right. Yeah.
They do their best to make you think it's some sort of...
Well, they do their best to make you think the Rock Star's in it as the main character.
Yeah, well, I mean... But
he's bigger and
he's
more
positioned
taller
now
than
like in a normal movie, not a wrestling movie. And they make it seem like a family battle movie from just... Because I didn't know about this movie until yesterday, and which is great for me.
Yeah. Well, this is the way we like to go into films, is not knowing it, as little as possible, so that it
allows you to see the
everything's
film.
fresh.
Yeah, fresh.
And you could put any sport in there. I mean, although it's based on it, you could put any sport in there or any type of, any sport, and it would still flow well because of the background, the story.
The movie's about a person.
They're about the character,
rising and attempting to succeed. Yeah, so. Again,
it's a success story.
whatever the sport is less relevant than these characters and getting to know them and following their journey.
And what's so great about this movie is, like you guys said, you don't have to be a wrestling fan. You can go in and enjoy this movie. And of course, all you wrestling fans are going to be there and going to go see this. And it's great. You're going to love it too. Because there's a lot of little shots, backs to everything, and you can relate. But a normal person, well, I'm not saying normal, but... a knowledgeable person from wrestling will go in there and get something out of it as well. And I think, well, I'm not trying to end this, but I think that's a pretty damn good ending.
It is. Although, to end on a slightly more comical note, I did want to mention that in the film, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yet all the other characters play fictional characters. So it's kind of funny when you see Vince Vaughn, and it's not Vince Vaughn.
Threw me off a little
he's a
bit.
nobody. I'm like, oh, it's Vince Vaughn. Oh, but he's not Vince Vaughn. He's just a nobody.
That definitely threw me off. But, I mean,
such
when
is the
I
nature
saw
of
him, I
these
thought the kick, or what is the game? The movie,
Dodgeball. Yeah.
I thought Dodgeball. As soon as I saw him, I said, oh my gosh, it's Dodgeball too. But no, he did it. He did a good job.
All the actors did a great job.
Great.
And when you see the ending credits and you see the real people, you kind of get an idea. Wow, they did a pretty good job of
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. And again, go to GoneWithTheTwins.com after you're done watching this. Read the review on it. Just leave a message. Get a comment on their stuff. Check out their other stuff. They do not give you a number, but I do. And I'm going to stay. I gave Alita a 9 out of 10.
That was high marks.
So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. But wink, wink, 9. Okay, and I can't believe I'm saying
8.5.
it, but I liked it
We'll
a lot.
toughen you up at some point.
Yeah. Hey, well, for a movie, again, it had it all for me: humor, drama, family,
and tingles.
sports,
And tingles.
I got tingles. I think that's what people. Go
What
see
else
in
could
movies.
you ask for?
You know, people. Go to a
I'm
movie,
glad that we helped contribute to your tingles.
They tingled me, guys. No, but you know, you go to a movie to experience something, to take some time out of your life, to forget about your life, and bring something else in. And whether it's to get scared, or to have a laugh, or to feel inspired. This movie, of course, didn't scare me, but it hit a lot of those other marks. I was immersed in it, and I walked out saying, hey, that was a good, well-spent hour and 45 minutes. And I didn't expect it, and that's even better. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to go see these guys at GoneWithTheTwins.com. Do you guys have any last...
Well, thanks for inviting us back. These are always fun to do. And
Don't forget to subscribe to Economics and Comics.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
Thanks,
Oh, yeah.
guys. Have you guys subscribed? Yeah.
oh, of course we have.
Do you... Okay, good. I was about to put the smack down. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I think these are getting better and better. Click that like button if you like, and check them out, GoneWithTheTwins.com. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming, and we'll see you next time.